Underdog Daily with the Badge Bros and very special guest, friend of the show, recurring guest now, our man Easy here. You guys know him, love him from the Kingdom. He's a legend around those parts. But most recently, ezdfs.xyz helped me take down a couple baseball slates, used his sheet for the BBM stuff, and now he's got something cooking in the sheets for the Battle Royale stuff. So we're going to test it out with him, walk through it there. But I got to start the show the way I always do, and that's with winners from last night. Our guy Cowboys, who already has a seat punched to Dallas there, takes down the puck slate. Ring of Honor now member, formerly of Mount Rushmore, T-Box, took down one of the baseball slates last night. And then our guy, Best Ball Vipers, best buddy, Asset. I think Asset came out of the woodwork all of a sudden after we had Best Ball Viper on the show, because I've been noticing him in the lobbies way more now, and he takes down the main baseball slate last night. So big shout outs to everyone within the community. But without further ado, let's make this slate easy, shall I say. What's good, boys?
GM, welcome, Easy.
Dude, that's you're way too kind to me. I'm just a guy who like carves out way too much time trying to make myself slightly better at fantasy games, and happy to share that with people. So
yeah, I love it, man. The humility speaks volumes there. I gotta compliment you on the jersey. I already did it behind closed doors, but for the people watching at home, this is my favorite iteration of Rangers jersey, with the Statue of Liberty one and the NYR on the front there. But who are we rocking with the Cheds there? The clean 68.
Yeah,
there he is.
Yarmir still active, still on the ice somehow.
Legend,
I think he's in a lot. He's an inspiration. I think he's in like so much that he's like forcibly had to play professional hockey into his 50s to like, pay all his ex-wives and stuff.
I got the comp here.
Total legend.
I got the comp, dude. If AI hadn't got a little fat, he would be the Yarmir Yager of hoops.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like,
yeah.
It'd be like AI playing in the 3-on-3 league now.
There's a lot of unfortunate financial stories of the stars of the 2000s. Let's be real. What I really think happened, Easy, is like you're just like such a diehard Pens fan that you wanted to rock something for me and rock the Yager ex-Pen jersey. So salute to that. I appreciate that, man. That's very nice of you.
I know this is exactly why people tuned in, but going to college in central Pennsylvania, I hate the Penguins and Penguins fans. I do respect. I have a recent respect and admiration for Steelers fans, and I like the idea of the city, like everything black and yellow and all that. Like, it's really cool. But no, Rangers won opening night 6-0 in your barn. So
I love it.
I'm surprised that you made it out of Penn State and are like relatively normal. So salute to you for that.
Yeah.
Hey, actually, I saw this one too. I only got one entry in the 25 and I forgot, but shout out Patrick. P Smooth took down the $25 one in the baseball streets there. Sorry, Patrick, missed you off the top there. Much congratulations. Or I think it was the puck $25. No, it was the baseball $25 frozen roll. Yeah. Anyways, boys, let's talk about some NFL. Let's talk about slate. We'll do Prime Time Palooza on the back end of this one. Yeah, I've already done my Primetime Paloozas. I got one more DeBomb to go in there. Nez and I just finished up a DeBomb there. I know Nez has got some spicy takes because I see him taking Jordan Mason 101 in that contest over and over again. We can have ourselves the Malik Neighbors conversation, how we're handling that situation there. But Easy, let's start with the sheet. Let's start with what you've been working on behind closed doors. I know you've done a little talk through with it in the past here with Davis, but I will pop you up on the screen here and just kind of walk me through what you got going on here. Oops, sorry,
I feel like apologies as always to my visually impaired folks. I love conditional formatting, as you can tell, but basically BR, it's huge, but still so small. And the tools and ways that we can visualize and think about and quantify the decisions that we make I feel like it's super untapped, and people are starting to dive into that. So yeah, just basically built a tool that utilizes projections, and obviously it makes rankings, but everyone starts to have rankings. So what I wanted to do was look at like visualization of like, hey, like if you wanted to game stack, like what teams to target, like what game environments, but like how often are players drafted versus how often they are possibly optimal on a slate. So, cool little data visualization. That took me a while to get out. For like game stacks and stuff, but also ultimately now just making like what I'm calling the draft guide. So it's similar to if people have used the Sidekick. This stands alone. I hopefully will get better at this and make it more integrated onto Underdog, but just something to help you visualize like what to do on the clock instead of like, so my problem, everything I do stems from like, I play the games and I make stuff that I think makes me better. My problem is like, I have a couple of angles and then I don't vary stuff up a lot. So I used to go into slates like 50, 60, 70%, or like, I'm always scrolling to Deontay Johnson or whatever. This helps me randomize the process in a way that is supposed to represent like how often someone is the correct pick.
Okay.
So it simulates. So it's a really cool.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say the S word. Don't say it. We don't want to get people confused out here.
Scroll. It's a fancy randomize. Like it simulates, but it really randomizes within a range based on projections and range of outcomes. So what happens is it ends up scrolling a lot more, but that in theory represents what is most likely to happen rather than like the randomly guy at ADP 20. Buttons. Yeah, exactly. So it helps you randomly click the buttons.
Right, in an intelligent manner. Okay, let's walk it back a little bit here because I totally understand all of this. I understand everything that's happening on the sheet in grave detail. I get all of it. I understand it perfectly easy. My questions are only for the community here, just to help some of the layman people understand what's going on. How do we deem what makes an optimal scroll? How do we deem what makes when you say something is like simming better, or there's a sim percentage there's a VORP percentage associated with sim? What goes into that on the back end? What are the inputs here that goes into the Deebo Samuel projection?
Yeah, so we can look at, so like this is kind of like my top plays, which is like top 5 or 10. It's all automated based on ADP. We have an idea from historical data how often a player is drafted. So like Lamar Jackson is 17%. This used to say 100, now it says 17. But same idea, right? Lamar Jackson goes in every draft. Someone like Anthony Richardson is going in like next to no drafts, but that's because we don't know if he's going to play or not. But Justin Fields, right, is in 2%.
Can I just stop you for 1 second? Good evergreen reminder why it says 17 instead of saying 100 is that because relative to the field, Lamar Jackson can only be drafted 17% of the time. That is indicative of 100% drafted.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was just like a choice that I made because Pat on BBMDB, it shows it that way. And because I'm like looking at that all the time, I just want to reorient my brain.
Yeah. Perfect.
Same thing. So yeah, basically just looks at how often the simplest way, right? And we could look at, quarterbacks, for example. These guys, this is how often they're drafted. And I basically simulate the player outcomes, not the slate, but the player outcomes of like, who's the highest scorer? If you played out the slate 1,000 times or 10,000 times, like Lamar is the best quarterback, 20%, Jalen Hurts, 18, Jaden Daniels, 12, etc. So then I scale that out and compare that versus how often they're drafted. So the simplest way, and this obviously can be very wrong, I don't know, we'll find out on Sunday night. This is saying, Lamar and Hurts seem to be positive leverage, like they win you the slate more often than they're drafted.
Mm-hmm.
Someone like Jaden Daniels, I know a lot of sharp people like him. This is just saying he doesn't win often enough. And then you'll find a lot of like scrolly type players like Justin Fields or whatever. It's small, but a couple percentage points more win more slates than they're drafted. So that's what all that it tends to do.
Okay, cool. Now, very simplistic question. What goes into assuming that they are the top scoring player on the slate?
It's projection driven plus the standard deviation of their scores,
Okay.
which is just it's projection plus range of outcomes.
Okay.
So if you were to think about like just two players, right? Like Lamar and Jalen Hurts, it's like 23 versus 22 points projection. If you were just saying like who's the best play, I'm playing cash, like you just take Lamar every single time, right? Because 23 is more than 22.
Mm-hmm.
With this, looking at their distributions, I'm going to make it up. Like let's say Lamar wins that 1v1 60-40, but it does that for every quarterback, right?
Okay. Yep.
Lamar versus, so like it's all in here. So like we can look at, I don't know, it's like Kamara, like on this slate scores 21, the next one he scores 8, whatever, and then it ranks. Oh God, it's a whole bunch of numbers.
Sure, yeah.
Isn't on the slate, but like Alvin Kamara on one slate was RB3, then he was RB17, then RB17, RB4, etc. So it compares all of that and says how often each player at each position makes, is the top 1, top 3, top 6 on the slate, the stuff that we care about.
And how many iterations of that do you run?
I run 1,000. The more, like once you get over a certain threshold, like the numbers don't change a whole lot. It just becomes, the more you simulate it, the less random it is.
You're just hurting the planet more.
Correct. Yeah.
Well put.
Yeah. So I really like this. I think this is interesting. What I'm like trying to think about is how to incorporate ADP into the optimal percentage, because based on the points that they score, Lamar versus Hurts, Lamar is more likely to be what you need based on the fact that he's projected for more points. But right now, Jalen Hurts in the main BR is like a 4th round pick. So I don't obviously don't have a suggestion or an answer to this, but I do feel like that's sort of like maybe like the no ball of drafting. And I think maybe that's like the Davis problem whenever he's on stream with Nerdy and Brick and he's trying to like, marry these two together, I think is probably the next evolution of like that, like optimal percentage. Just I don't really have like a question there, just sort of like just thinking out loud about like how to help incorporate this.
Yeah. So like we're not going to be replaced by robots, A, because Underdog isn't going to allow it, and B, because like you can just like been staring at this for months. It's like you can always improve and iterate, and there's something a human knows that like you can teach the computer eventually, but like it probably really isn't worth anyone's time to be that precise. Like you can do just good enough job like knowing ball. So yeah, it's fun to like to think about, but also this gives you kind of options like in the draft. Just like from being in drafts, you should probably respect ADP more up front, right? Like in rounds 1 and round 2, because of like, that's how you get super teams, is like, people doing weird stuff early, and then you just like scoop up 2 first round picks, 3 first round picks. So basically this gives you a couple different options. The way that I recommend as you guide your drafts, this simulates, random number generator, the players in like the first round or first X number of picks relative to where you pick, but it averages it with ADP. So it'll say like in this. So here's a perfect example. Like Derrick Henry's projected for 15. In this sim, he gets 21. Saquon 16, he gets 17, etc. If I were to do it again, it would like change. Like Saquon, like Derrick Henry was 21. Now he's like 16.
Sure.
But in this top section, it respects ADP more. So it re-ranks the players. So it's like Saquon was number 1. Now he's number 3. But it takes that rank and your ADP rank and averages it.
Okay. Yep.
So long story short, I'm talking way too much.
No.
In like the first few rounds, it respects ADP more and then incrementally drops off. And then you kind of pivot to like later in the draft. It's just, you don't have to respect ADP.
I think that's smart. And I think that's probably like one of the problems, or not problems. Well, yeah, I guess a problem that people that are trying to build tools are trying to solve is like how to respect ADP, but not respect it too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So is that a reflection based on fragility of projection, where we think the projections are more accurate with the upper echelon plays relative to the back ones, or is that just a reflection of respecting market because you don't want to get caught with your pants down in terms of ownership over a portfolio?
I think it's that because it's less about fragility of projections and more like you kind of want to guard and respect everyone else's combos in the tournaments. Like you don't want to, like, even if it were optimal to like some one week, there's going to be guys like all 30 ADP and later were the winners.
Sure,
And like
yeah.
for some reason you had to somehow get there.
Mhm.
But you still want to protect your EV by like taking the highest projected players every now and then, or like a pretty representative sample. So I think you do want, like, I don't respect ADP as much as a lot of people that we kind of talk to,
Sure, yeah.
but it kind of drops off after a curve. Slate dependent also, by the way,
Mhm.
where there's like pockets, right? Like this week, it seems like the top four are pretty tight and good. And then there's a drop off. You can usually tell what the tiers are based on when the first quarterback goes, because everyone is just like, I don't know who to pick.
Yep.
Like, I'll just take Lamar, right?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
the first four are
exactly.
solid, and then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
mix in Lamar, and then there's like a whole batch of next guys, and it's like, oh, I guess I'll take Jaden Daniels or whatever it is. So yeah, so it's kind of tier based also.
Okay, let's pause for 1 second. I'll save, or I'm going to tell you my question, and then you think about it for half a second. I want to know the tethering of correlation relative to top finish outcome. So we had the conversation all week about like Burrow and Higgins and Burrow and Chase and that sort of thing. I want to talk about it through the framework of this week, like Lamar, and then what would happen to like what happens within the Sims for optimal percentage of like Flowers, Andrews, likely, etc., when he is QB1 and how we factor that sort of thing in. Let's sit on that for 1 second, easy. And I
Yeah,
got to
gotta
thank my
catch up.
guy,
Yes.
Matt, Wu-Tang Killer Bees, gifting out 5 memberships to the community. Much love to Matt. Matt is OG. Matt is definitively the only person. There were multiple people in Vegas who showed out with Badge Bros merch, but he was the only guy who went back to back to back days displaying some Badge Bros merch under his getup. He is the realest of real ones. Thank you, Matt, and thank Matt on behalf of the community if you were a recipient of said membership there. Okay, we got 200 of us hanging out. Hit that like, that subscribe, that notification bell, all that good stuff. Check out ezdfs.xyz. All right, Easy. Have we thought about a potential answer to the correlation question?
Yeah. So there's like a good amount of data around correlation matrices, tables, etc. But the simplest way to say it is like when Lamar does well, his receiver projection should be about 20% higher than average. So like round numbers, let's say Zay Flowers projects for 10 points and you say, hey, Lamar's going to have a good game. You can then project Zay for 12, right? And then you would run, simulation where you'd run a range of outcomes. So like you could project for 12, but that means he's going to score like 3 or 4. Sometimes he's going to score 20 plus, other times and averages out to 12. So that ends up meaning like there could be weird stuff where you probably want to stack sometimes less than the field does because like 10 to 12 points isn't a whole lot.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially there's going to be 10 receivers projected for between 10 and 12 points.
Right.
Like, so.
Well, especially if you're aping into the same like correlation patterns that everyone else is.
Exactly.
Because the frequency in which like last week, Burrows, Chase, Higgins, and then Flowers would be tacked on versus like Burrows, Chase, Higgins, and DJ Moore would be tacked on, would be like playing into, quote unquote bad ownership, even if the projection for Moore and Flowers was the exact same.
Correct. Yeah. And if you're trying to exploit it, like let's pretend like I think a solid rule of thumb, if you had to just like try and make one up and try and stick to, is like just call all correlation 20%.
Okay.
I think for bring back it's even less.
I was gonna hashtag nuance that and be like,
yeah,
What if we have a pocket passer? Like, can
Yeah,
you
yeah.
safely give us a
pocket passers,
25%?
Pocket passers like 20 to 30, and like scramblers like 10 to 20. But let's just call it 20.
Sure.
Sure. What about is that position agnostic, or is
It's
that
Q
like
plus pass catcher.
so that pass catcher inserted could be running back as well, or is that
No, running back's a little less. Running back's
Okay.
like maybe closer to 10.
Okay, yeah.
ballpark.
No, I agree with you. I'm just
Yeah.
clarifying.
Yeah, and that's all in there. But like, if so, like, let's say it's 20%, but like the thing that I had struggle with is like the field has been muscle memorying like bringbacks like
Right.
a lot.
Yeah.
So if they do that more than 10 to 10 for bring back, I'd say it's 10% optimal. Like the amount of the amount of T Higgins teams that appeared with Ravens, and of course it ended up being correct. Like it can be correct. But like
Yep.
you're just fighting with, it's harder to differentiate.
This is
my
the thesis of the week 17 bring back of CD plus Amon Ra over and over again in BBM, and then it smashes and it's the one you need. But like it was also like, did we play bad? Question mark. But a
Yeah.
completely different conversation when dealing with a 60-person field of isolated contest that is 17 weeks away. But it's just funny to have the same conversation in like two different forums, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Oh, I sorry, Nez. Anything else you want to ask here?
Any plans? I know that this is like still in beta. Any plans on expanding this to 12 teams?
I want to feel really good about this first because like ultimately, I mean, now that I'm a tout, like I need to make sure my customers are happy and get what they want. But I try and be honest. Like I only do stuff for things that I play, and I don't play 12 mans. I do 1 to 2 dog balls a week just to like for the bit equity, sweat equity, and I like to see the leaderboard. So like I don't like when people tout like do this and then they don't do it themselves. So I'll need to like start playing the game and understand the patterns there and stuff. Rather than I don't want to give you something that's garbage and
That's fair.
I won't put money behind. So probably not imminent, but
that's great, dude.
We'll see. Yeah.
I respect the hell out of that because like one of the things that Nez and I have always been big proponents of is like everything that we do on this show, like I'm fucking doing it. Like, like I build the pick'em on the show. We build the pick'em on the show. Then I put, $100. I did that. And I do really respect your approach in that regard because like, when we're talking through all the plays and stuff, then we build the teams, then we show everyone our exposures and stuff. Like I pounded the table for Trey McBride last week, and then I show everyone here's 60% Trey McBride for $700 or whatever. So like I respect the hell out of that you want to be like deep enough in the weeds to then support it, right?
Yeah.
I want to ask about sim vorp versus projection, what we're staring at on this screen. Just like in layman's terms, can you tell me what's going on?
So projection is a projection.
What's the input for your projection? Is it an amalgamation of multiple? Is it you making up your own? Okay.
It's a combination of a couple that I respect, and then I sprinkle on top the places where I think that they're wrong.
Okay.
Sure. So you have to trust me on that one. If you don't, that's why you can always like ultimately you're the one that clicks the button, right? With all of this stuff. So yeah, it's a combination of a couple sources, and I sprinkle in the place where I think that the projections are wrong or fragile or whatever. The sim in here is like this iteration of and it's a small number of sims, and this is just meant to like give you a little bit more randomness.
Okay.
Otherwise you would always be selecting the same people over and over, and that's not what I want to do here. Gotcha. You can do that, right? Like, but not what I'm trying to do. Draft percent, VORP. Fancy word comes from like, I don't know, like fantasy baseball leagues or even, conventional baseball, like I guess WAR essentially. But what this is basically this is how how I rank it, it's basically just the one formula that ranks everyone is like compares this player's outcomes versus someone you can draft from round 6 at that position.
Gotcha.
So this is saying in this iteration, I won't use the S word. Saquon beats the round 6 running back, whether that's, I don't know, making up Najee, Javonte, whatever, by 10 points. Amon-Ra beats Deontay or Devontae Smith by 9.6. So that's how it ranks the players. And then you'll notice like sometimes it's out of order, and that's because ADP or like something weird that's just like kind of tethering you one way or another.
Okay, sure. Yeah, because like right now, Gibbs and Robinson are it's okay.
It's basically the same. So that
yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, let's put this thing to work and let's see what happens. I'll bring up the platform and you be on the 1s and 2s with the sheet here, and we will play the game. It is for 6-person drafts only as of this moment, and it is specifically catered to the BR. So I am clicking in right now. Oh my
Snap.
goodness. Snap. Yeah. Easy's a freak in the sheets, but according to Mathology's pictures, so is he.
Well, dude, he's actual winner, you know.
He's got the results.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, we got friends and family in this one. Oh, all right.
Is Crashers friends or family?
He's I think he's just friends right now.
I think he's a strange family.
Yeah, he's like that cousin, that goofy cousin that you don't talk to that much, but when you see him, you're gonna get along really well.
He randomly followed me back on Twitter the other day.
Oh, he's lurking. He's a lurker, man. It's because he won the Badge Bros Brawl. Shout out again to Crash Rich taking down the Badge Bros Brawl this week.
I might have to throw an invite his way just to see, even if he just doesn't share his screen, maybe we get like a voice distorter or something. Maybe we can get Crash Rich on the program one day.
I wanted him to come to Dog Bowl so bad last year. So bad.
Annoyed me. Even Beretta showed up. Like,
dude, pour one out for Beretta. Where's Beretta been, man? I don't know.
In the trenches.
In the
trenches. It's election season.
Oh,
yeah.
he's
bigger
NTGP guy.
I think he's a friend of Bricks or something. I don't know.
Gotcha. All right.
If you know.
All right, so we roll one of those top 4 spots that we were talking about, where it kind of appears like the community has drawn a line in the sand here. Easy. Who are you punching in on the sheet for us?
Yeah, I'm on the switchboard here, so let me pull up Easy's sheet.
Okay.
You know what's funny is like I would say it's Lamar. I would say it's Amon-Ra every single time, but I'm trying to force it, and like Amon-Ra is not bubbling up.
Okay.
Now he
we're not
finally
taking
did.
him.
Yeah.
Who am I taking?
Take Lamar.
3 seconds.
I mean, I think it's bad. But take Lamar.
Take Lamar. All right, we're playing the sheets rules here. We take Lamar at 4.
So I don't
That was
think
a
we really
bad
talked about.
advertisement, right?
It's pretty. I think it's straightforward. But like just to like give people a rundown of what is happening here, like we are inputting like the picks as we see them come in.
Yeah, I have a quiet keyboard. My wife got rid of my mechanical keyboard, but you can just type in some letters and it'll auto populate for you.
Okay, so 6 was Gibbs, 7 was Bijan, London at 8. We are on the clock now with Lamar in the holster.
Yeah, Reed or Josh Jacobs.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's scroll.
So this is gonna be a super scroll.
Let's do it.
So yeah, ultimately, like I said, like you have to click the buttons, right? A lot of times what this does, what I've noticed, it scrolls a lot. And I think what that's meant to represent is like how fragile, like it's a sport where this week, even with buys and stuff, there's probably, I don't know, 60 plus good plays potentially that we think can score a lot of points on the slate. So the certainty at which people slam Jaden Reed, he's like 90% of the time, Jaden Reed isn't going to be in the winner, maybe more. Right. So this tries to represent that. So if the chalk hits, like this probably has a suboptimal week. But this tries to position you to like represent the angles that people are underconfident in.
Love it. This is the scroll machine.
Essentially, yeah.
The permission to scroll.
Yeah. Permission to scroll. Okay. So Reed goes at 13. Kamara, how far up to date are you? Do you got everybody so
I'm
far?
here. I'm here. Yeah, dude, I'm
Okay.
fast.
All right.
All you need is like 1 or 2 buttons. We're rolling.
All right. What's the sheet telling me now?
Evans, Connor, Flowers.
Evans, Connor, Flowers. What's the one?
Stack it up.
Stack it up.
I'm gonna override the robot gave us Flowers as
Dude,
option
you're
too.
Davising the sheet
Flowers
right
is there.
now. Dude, you're
Yeah,
Davising the
Flowers
sheet.
There. It was an option. It was an option per the sheet. So
Davising is a verb now. Davising is when you override anything like this.
When you IKB the
when
the
you
robots.
IKB anything, when you IKB the robots, it's called Davising.
I might have zoned out for a minute whenever you were explaining it, but so when you were putting in just like ones in those cells, that was like
it could be
like randomizing.
Yeah, it's literally the way that it's like set up. Whenever anything changes, it re-randomizes. Like, so it doesn't have to be
Sick.
a 1. It's just like a habit.
I'm gonna go back to the draft for you.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, if I was by myself, I would have taken Trey McGronk for sure. We took Flowers.
No, come on.
Oh, sorry.
With easy on the show.
Call him by his.
Okay, Trey
God-given
McDust.
government name.
Trey McDust, Mike Evans, Devonta Smith, Tony Pollard.
Uh-huh.
I guess we
I'm
can
there.
have
I'm
the
there.
Okay, we should have the conversation about what it does with Q tags. It wanted to take Connor
doesn't know.
before, so I imagine it wants to take Connor now.
Well, that's the thing. Is like now it's
scrambled
a
it.
different reality. Go Montgomery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So now it's a different reality because of the board shifting, or
Yeah.
because we randomized again.
Just because you randomized again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, this gives me old school initial GTO vibes when I would be sitting here clicking the random number generator to make my decisions for me in The Sims. Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Go
And
back.
it's like, and you don't like it, so you keep clicking it. You keep clicking.
Oh
until
my
you get the
God,
one you
yeah.
like it's like, it just took me like 13 to get to the what I wanted. Like, should I listen?
Just took me 13 to get cold 5 bet with ace 5 suited. Here we go. Now we're
Yeah.
going.
I assume easily that your tool is not going to like Montgomery and Gibbs paired together on one team. What is the no?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, sorry, we're
I
on
don't
clock.
really dock for that.
Okay.
This has
All right, we're back
Godwin,
up.
so like we're actually somehow like chalking things up after starting weird, which is actually
Okay.
interesting. So like this team has like 4 third-round picks, which I think are like the most fragile picks on the entire.
Right, we're
like-
kind of hammering the dead
like
zone
that.
a little bit.
Yeah. We're hammering the dead zone, but it's actually interesting that they all appear together, which a lot of people won't.
Right. Because
Um,
usually what kind of happens is like we scroll, we get the value, and we basically flip flop draft positions. Now we're actually doing what you hope happens when you do a scroll is you're compounding guys that are found in the
Yeah.
same range rather than just like
Yeah.
galbrating your way into a chalk team.
Yeah, good point. J.K. Dobbins going at 29. Gus Edwards didn't practice yesterday. Might have been a vet day off, but just something to think about. Baker goes. Tucker Kraft goes. Yeah, we're gonna have
we got a tight
decision at
end.
Tight end.
Oh, so
okay.
Jacobs. Oh yeah, we're talking like the running backs. Cousins.
I'm gonna.
This is really funny.
Okay, so we have.
I love Laporta, but
Okay.
the sim is going with Taysom, or the randomizer is going with Taysom.
Fucking The
and-
Sims.
So is
baby.
John.
And I
What if
think-
we
Sims
look
is
at
me. I am The Sims.
So like if you respect ADP, you take Laporta, but if you just say screw it, like who wins in this reality? Taysom wins
I love it.
with his 12
Okay.
points.
Let's he's still not
But I
practicing.
think that's a fun one. Yeah. So like if this guy, so then
Laporta's
this guy
the
took
slot.
Schultz. Like if we'll end up with Laporta on this team if Taysom doesn't play anyway, and I think that's
That's the
Yeah,
ideal
unless-
setup,
that's
right?
that's what you should have
could
done anyway, right?
You can
Like
guarantee that guy is going to play Schultz. Like you don't know that,
Yeah.
but like you just make
Yeah.
that you make that bet.
John's new favorite tool. I love this. Okay, let's go back to this for a second. I'm gonna pull up
Oh.
your sheet here. Oh, you deleted it? No, we're good.
no, we can bring it back.
John doesn't know what
Yeah.
Control Z is. You just blew his mind.
Okay, relax. Control easy is the only control I worry about.
Hey,
I
Boom!
love that.
Okay. So can we randomize that last pick like 4 times and like just see
Yeah.
what pops up?
So like what I would say is like once you do this a couple of times, like your eyes will orient. Beginning, you want to be looking at this section and respecting ADP here. So like, let's just say this, we're going to ignore ADP. So this says Taysom, Schultz, Goddard, Ertz. But you notice it's like, it's super flat, right? It's like if you're a human, if it was just me drafting, like I would click Laporta there every time because like he probably projects the best, whatever. So yeah, you'll see how often it probably changes. So Taysom, Laporta wins the second one. Taysom, Pat Fryermuth.
Wow. Okay.
Taysom, Laporta.
What's the input on your Taysom projection versus other available tight ends?
So some people are modeling him out and others have him in.
Okay.
So I just put him in to be like 8 points because I like Taysom Hill and I want my subscribers to take Taysom Hill because he's a good person and a better football player.
Yep, I agree with you there. Okay, that's very cool. Okay, so there's a couple things when we like do this, and like as you said, like take this with a grain of salt. Like you don't have to follow them verbatim. Like this sort of stuff. Like we didn't necessarily have to take Lamar at 4 just because it's simming that way. If we think there's a tier break at 4, you can get densely exploitative with your decision making to just take like Amon-Ra at 4, that sort of thing. But then I think another thing that's really important to clarify for people is that like potentially why Taysom is randomizing for us in the last there is because the Taysom projection is actually ahead of the Laporta projection. Now, is that indicative of just how we feel about him, or is that ADP adjusted in that projection?
No ADP in that. This is just the one projection system that has Taysom in, likes him, and for some reason everyone's down on Laporta. So like if I were drafting Monday to Wednesday without projections, I would have been jamming Laporta because I feel like that's a game that I think could go well. And I think projections seem to be cooling on almost all the Lions because I guess as Jameson emerges and as Montgomery has more of a role than people thought, it's just like hard for one guy to bubble up. And that's coming at the expense mostly of Gibbs and Laporta, right? It seems. So there's definitely some fragility to the Taysom one, but I think the no ball piece is like you take him in round 6 as the last guy in, and you can swap to Laporta or Pitts or whoever it ends up being.
Yeah, it's essentially giving us a plus EV bet in the 6th, but then it's also giving us an out at randomizing one step further when we have more knowledge on Sunday.
Yeah. And this is like a really good, like this would be hilarious. Let's say this was correct, where Laporta is 15% owned. So like that means he's going like, it's like 80-90% of drafts, and Taysom is like 1% owned. But let's say these projections are correct and they're like projected for the same. Like, why would you ever click Laporta, right? If you're trying to exploit.
Right.
But I'm not saying that
maybe therein lies the edge for tight ends, because that's sort of the case.
That's what I thought last week too. And then that's why I took like a bunch of Kobe Parkinson and not any Tucker Kraft. And I think that was probably a little too
You mean Colby Cup?
Yeah.
Nice.
For sure, dude.
Nice. Okay. You said the L word there, not the L word we're not allowed to say, but the other one. You said leverage in there, and I did notice there is a leverage percent column when we go back to the other side. Can you explain what the leverage has to do with? Is that leveraging off ADP? Is that leveraging projection versus projection? What's baked into leverage?
How often they're optimal versus their draft percent. So like this is basically saying Najee is 1% drafted, and it happens to believe he'll be optimal 8% of the time. So you get 7% leverage there. Conversely, Jaden Daniels is 17% drafted, and it thinks it's only going to be 12% where he's like the QB1. So that's all that is trying to, find like players to avoid and players to target potentially.
And that's over 1,000 S words. That's not over this one random iteration.
No, that's over. Yeah, it's over 1,000. I did it over 10,000 because that seems to be the magic number.
Yeah,
it doesn't change a lot, so it just saves
what makes you
me
good at free throws. 1,000 of them or 10,000 of them.
For sure. But I did 10,000 and then I did 1,000. The numbers were the same, so I was like, all right, I'll just save myself like a couple seconds on copy and pasting and running the the dice roller.
No, that entirely checks out there. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Let's do this again and see what kind of outputs we get from doing so. I wanted to address one thing in the chat here. Razor Ramon, he's coming in asking, contests get deleted. Yes, there's a variety of reasons that go into contests getting deleted on Underdog. You will receive an email if said contest was deleted, and it's not implying that you cheated or anything like that. It just implies that at some frequency something happened that is not allowed in an iteration of a contest. This is primarily in the 4-persons, like the Prime Time Palooza this evening, that sort of thing. It is standard practice. All drafts are vetted on Underdog. There we go. Anything else to say on that, guys?
No, like you said, could be a number of reasons. I don't know.
I wouldn't be concerned. Like if it was your problem, you would know.
Yeah,
if it was because of you, you would know.
Yes.
So
if you were the culprit,
if you got the email, the money's back in your account, you're good. They were just protecting you from someone else possibly doing something.
They're not witch hunting. Yeah, you don't have to worry, man.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
All right, another friends and family here.
That's one streak.
Copper out here scaring people.
You can't scare Razor Ramon.
Yeah, that's right.
No S words, man. The S words is the new redacted on this show.
Yeah, we call them Gumbies now.
The Gumbies. Hey, mad respect for what Gumby's doing.
I love Gumby.
I love
Gumby.
I love giving him a hard time because he's young, he's green, but I love what he's doing.
Yeah. Let's be clear. We don't want to kill the ambition of the young man.
God,
I think it's awesome because like no one's really doing what he's doing right now. So
exactly.
Like
very cool.
There's gotta be it's part of being family, you know.
Right,
You're
exactly.
Gonna hang with us. We're gonna razz you.
If you're not getting made fun of in the Discord or on the show or something like that, like you're not close enough yet. You know, the people you're not close enough yet. So the fact that we
owe him a plug for razzing him. Check out the Gumby. He's got his own streams, so check out Gumby streams. They're actually very entertaining. He brings on his brother and another friend that just like IKB this stuff and bring their thoughts into the streams. It's actually like very entertaining. So shout out Gumby.
I just went to look him up on the Twitterverse there to bring it up, and I just saw that Cody Main posted a new iteration of the whisper video.
Oh my god, that is the funniest bit ever.
It's so good.
So good. Yeah, for those of you guys that don't know,
I want to guess who the whisper is.
Yeah, Cody is the Showdown King on ETR there, and he makes these videos of his like play for the slate and
Thursday nights. Yeah,
they're very funny.
If it's not, I mean, it's gonna be JSN. I think it's gonna be JSN. As the
all right, little foreshadowing. Okay, we're on the clock here. Easy. The standard 5 runoff there.
Yeah. Nez is gonna be happy. We got some Bijan jumping off the page right now.
Nice.
I got some IKB alpha on Bijan, so I'm into it.
Okay. We'll take Bijan there, and then now I'm interested to see what it thinks about pairing like wide receiver and running back together from the same team. It
doesn't mind it because I haven't told it to mind it because I think people avoid it more than they should. So now it has Kamara. We could do London also. So like either way, we do it, it'll adapt.
Okay, let's do it and adapt just because Kamara has the Q tag. We're not sure on his certainty.
I know he's been that's like that seems like a fake ADP, right? I've done like 10 of these, and like if it's not me clicking Kamara in round 2, he'll go in round 3 like every single time.
Okay, let's do this. Let's pair this one. We called it the Slop It Up Fest of the Week. I think it's projecting too highly now to be the Slop It Up Fest of the Week, so I might have to switch my angle for tomorrow. Yeah, we might have to pivot to an even uglier game tomorrow, but it's projecting too well. It's projecting too well for me.
I have a slot. I have one.
Oh, okay, maybe. Let me entertain it.
Am I supposed to tell you or?
Yeah.
What if I told you? No, I don't even know how to set it up. It's a dome game that people don't like think of as a dome.
Okay.
Some uncertainty around the quarterbacks on both sides of the the game.
Yes,
There's
yes.
possible wheels squeaking. We don't know how many routes this guy's gonna run. Yeah, man, Justin Fields against the Raiders has to be.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
It's just a question of like, are they going to be pushed? Blah blah blah. What if they do the pushing this week? What if they do the pushing?
What if it is Fields to Pickens? Squeaky wheel narrative.
I'll +1 that and give a shout out.
Shocking development.
Let me. You know what? You don't even get the thought. You don't even get the thought because it's not even going where you think I was going. I was going to give +1 to Brock Bowers, sir.
Okay.
Because the Steelers linebackers are looking a little sus.
Okay.
So Brock Bowers week.
All right. I respect it. Okay. My dunce cap brain would just go like, yeah, Josh Jacobs and Trey McGronk here. I mean,
that's actually the top two. That if you respect the ADP, those are the top two. If you want to go slightly down the board, Godwin or even Chuba, apparently.
Ooh. Okay, let's do it, and then I want to see what it's going to tell us to do. If it's going to tell us this, I want to do this because we'll play the ADP game this time. Last time we played like the 3 third rounders kind of vibe, and I want to see if it tells us to scroll for the quarterback and like put like Cousins on this, or if it tells us to take like a naked quarterback. I want to know what it's going to tell us here.
Yeah. So like, well, you can follow the draft, but like right now, Cousins is bubbling up, which makes me kind of happy because that means I didn't totally botch it. Because Cousins obviously very important to this team.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you were to run it, like, I'm sure he wouldn't be the top quarterback. Yeah, now it's just taking like Jalen Hurts some percent of the time, Jordan Love, Kyler. So like we have stack options. We also have like naked Hurts.
Did you override the Sheet's ability to suggest Kyle Pitts?
No, I should. But no. Kyle Pitts is back, baby. Kyle Pitts is back.
It only took 80 dropbacks.
I was about to say
he had a great, bro. Yeah, it took an 18% target share in like the nuttest of runouts for people to be like,
Total X saying that Pat Fryermuth this week's draft. He was in the draft with us previously there. I mean, the sheet suggested Fryermuth after like 3 spins. So
yeah, tight end. That's the thing with like tight end all weeks.
Yep.
But especially this week where it's like the 3 or 4 good ones. And then it's just like everyone is going to project for 6 to 8. So if you spin the wheel, it's almost always going to give you like it's not going to care.
All right, let's spin the wheel. What's it giving us here? Godwin comes all the way back to us.
It actually has Godwin. And then if we spin the QB wheel, it gave me Kyler.
Interesting.
But Cousins is not far behind. But Kyler really smashes in this spot. I didn't even realize that it's a game stack with Jacobs.
Okay, yeah.
So.
All right, let's do it. Kyler to Trey McBride. We get the Godwin fall. We have the Bijan plus Drake London, and then we have Josh Jacobs on the bring back. Is this aping into 2 correlated bad ownership when we look at this one, or is this just we just trust the fact that if it's the game you need, it's the game you need?
Yeah, I think, and this is a concept that I struggle with. If I was exploiting, I'd be like, "What you're chalking up too much." But I think if you're doing a lot of drafts, you want some representation even of bad chalk now and then. Less than the field, you could still do less than the field and just not get totally buried. This is set up to give you less of that than it'll occur, than the field will represent, but in line with how much it should in theory occur.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. If it was me, I'd be like, nah, screw that. I never want it. But if you show up with like 1 or 2, it's not that bad.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm in agreement there, man. This is a very fun tool to mess around with. Let's do kind of like last overarching question of this, and then we'll pivot to the Primetime Palooza and just talk a little bro science ball here. How would you best leverage this tool other than strictly using it alongside you drafting and randomizing your selections? Like, what is the one lever we could pull in just like sifting through the sheet that will give us like the best play or give us the best leverage play or the best scroll? Like what would we do?
Yeah, I probably don't talk about it enough because like what I try and do like this, if you want it to be like this can be your process, like start to front.
Okay.
It's like top plays, just looking at who are the good and bad leverage quarterback plays. Receivers versus like Deontay Johnson is going to be someone that I imagine his ADP is going to finish like around 20. And like players to avoid, top stacks.
Can we go back? Just sorry for 1 second. Can we just go back
for sure.
to like players to avoid or whatever? So the players to avoid will be just drafted at too high a frequency relative to their ADP and projection.
Exactly. So like, you know, if you're like way in the weeds on this, and this doesn't mean they're always bad plays, but like there's a common theme around this ADP range, and it's almost always going to grade like bad because they're drafted in every draft, but they're like they just don't win much more often than the guys that are not drafted. Like, and some of these names are gross, but like Josh Downs beats AJ Brown straight up, like, I don't know, 20% of the time. It's like more than you think. And the field says it's 100%. So like,
I mean, this is like what we talked, John, I don't know, maybe it was like a year ago where we were like, if we could implement Gumbies into this game, what would it tell us? And this is like what you guys thought. I thought it was going to say something different, but now I've, changed my mind on what I thought the outputs would be. This is kind of like what you and Pete expected to see.
Yeah, I really like it. And now maybe that's just confirming my priors, and maybe that's like, like that's why I'm like, oh yeah,
that's for post lock. That's for post contest.
I mean, that was my prior too, and then I built it and I looked at it and I like just like silently was like, thank God, because otherwise I would have to. You could either ignore it or you can try and explain it. But I'm like, if it disagreed with your priors and then you try to talk yourself into it, it's like, this was just clean. It was like, this is what I thought. And actually like, it's just math. Like I didn't have to monkey with it. So I was happy that kind of happened.
Can we use, sorry, I know you were going to talk about the stack thing.
Yeah,
but
can we use the same thing?
Let's use an isolated example relative to the stacks that just came up in the chat here. Tuna saying Tolbert is a good pick this week. Now, my mind suggests that we are getting all these Dallas pieces. It's the highest total game on the slate. We're getting all these Dallas pieces drafted every single draft, and Tolbert is not one of them. Is scrolling to Tolbert going to be a good thing in the sheet? Because anecdotally, my mind says, hey, get to Rico, get to Tolbert. People won't get there enough when Ferg, Lamb, and Dak go every single draft. What does the sheet tell us?
This looks like the sheet is saying like maybe in 12 mans, but the sheet doesn't know that 12 mans exist.
Sure.
I think it like Tolbert is just like the wide receiver 26 and only 12 to 18 go. So that I think is a tougher one. Apparently Rico Dowdle seems fine. What I haven't taught the sheet is like direct teammate leverage, right? Where like in games where Tolbert does well, like sometimes that means Lamb does worse because it's kind of, you can only score one touchdown per possession. But in a strange way, it's also not true because we can go down correlation rabbit hole. Sometimes like their 70th, 75th percentile are still positively correlated because yards are yards. Right. If I told you Tolbert has a good game, you could either take it to mean that's because Lamb didn't, or that means like this game is just a smash, like yards Palooza, Ravens, Bengals.
Right.
So this is saying, it seems to be saying like Tolbert is just too far of a scroll. Like there's a lot of good receiver plays on this slate, but Rico is kind of in play.
This one feels similar to the scroll situation that we were talking about earlier with Flowers, of like the boosting from like, even if you get the correlated smash with Tolbert, and you run 1,000 of them, like the boosting of a projection of 8 to 12 doesn't matter as much.
Yeah, because there's still 20 receivers in that same conversation. Yeah, that's exactly
This is
right.
the Zay Flowers of last week with the game environment play versus taking DJ Moore.
Yeah, well,
Right.
Flowers
Sort of.
projected better, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's 100% the way that I think about it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay, cool. Run down the stacks thing for us.
Yeah.
Kind of as the last thing we'll hit on.
Yeah, so it's the same thing, but it's just like this is my Sunday morning. Like if I have to, and I don't know if this is a good or bad way, but I think a lot of people do things like this where it's like I've got 20 drafts left, 50 drafts left. Who are some like for me last week? It was last minute. I was cramming DJ Moore and Caleb Williams. I was like, all right, let me these next 5. Like no matter what, I'm getting DJ Moore and Caleb Williams. So this is just like trying to bubble up the top combination of quarterback and pass catcher. Optimal versus, yeah.
I did the exact same thing last week, but mine was Flacco and Pittman and or Downs.
Sure,
and I wasn't paying attention to which drafts it was happening in, and 3 of them were in DeBomb.
Dude, I break the bomb last week.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They call me
literally just gave my money directly to Pete.
Yeah.
At least it's going to a good cause.
Take exactly. It, Matt. Buy April something nice.
Pay the piper.
Yeah. So like sometimes these are really gross, and I would actually think that like almost all of these are really gross right now. But as the week goes on, like things bubble up. Like Deontay, Andy Dalton. I think Deontay does a lot of the heavy lifting on that side of the house. So like Shaheed. So this right now is like mostly looking at like receivers, but like one like Ferguson, Dak. So yeah, it's just like a ways to kind of highlight like, oh, like what should my draft plan be for 5?
That's probably the most applicable thing you have to 12 person drafts, I think.
Probably.
Good shout. Yeah.
Like those are all things that I'm considering pretty much.
Like you can get in the 5th, 6th round, like bailout.
Yeah. Rashid plus Rattler is like a huge bailout. Spoiler alert, cover boy for tomorrow of Off and on the Clock is Rashid Shaheed. So who knows?
Certain people are projecting him ahead of Olave, man, and I'm broke.
Yeah, his role was has been wild, right? And it's interesting that
he has every role.
Yeah, he has every role, right? Like he is literally that. Yeah. Anyways, the other one with fuck it, whatever. No, I was just gonna say Joey Porter Jr. is really good, and that might have been like something with Olave dealing with last week, and then, or no, that wasn't Olave. That was CeeDee Lamb. Oh yeah, I'm drunk. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah. Respect
Joey Porter
JPJ.
is good. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna bring up ezdfs right now. I'm gonna drop it in the chat for everyone, just in case. We got almost 300 of us hanging out. Go check that out. Go mess around with the sheet. This is a very, very fun tool. There you go. Crashfish just took Rico down. He's in here somewhere watching. There you go. He was about to take Tolbert and he took Rico instead.
He must be a leg up subscriber.
Yes, Paul, couldn't agree more, man. This is awesome.
Possibly, hopefully something in the works. No promises. Would be really cool. So
love it. Hey, Jump Free saying that he's gonna have boots on the ground this weekend in Vegas for the football game, and Fields is undefeated in his presence. Wow. Okay.
I mean, that's a little bit of a humble brag that you're smart. Like you went to Ohio
stacking
State.
the deck. Yeah.
Stacking the deck.
Is Ohio State how many games
it's a good school.
If I
speak. Scholar school?
If I speak.
It's your rival, so you can't say anything.
No, it's not, dude.
Okay. Let's
I don't really know which are good like scholarly schools. I know all like the sports related schools.
I went to Slippery Rock, so I can't even like be the arbiter.
Ooh, Slippery Rock.
Is Slippery Rock a smart school?
No.
Oh, okay. That's why they still lose to Michigan every year.
Cardell Jones didn't go to Ohio State to play school.
That's a good one.
That's a great line.
That's a great line. Great callback there. Actually, they beat the Huskies in the Rose Bowl that year.
With Cardell?
Yeah, I think so. His last year. Yeah. Anyways, who cares? All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the Primetime Palooza. Let's get away from the Sims and the sheets and the smart guy shit. Put our bro science hats on and talk through this Primetime Palooza. It's a fun one, man. I got 2 more bombs to go there, and then I'm gonna get at least 30 of the Primetime Paloozas in there. I got 60 of the other ones carrying over into tonight that are feeling quite nice. But there are a lot of moving pieces, guys, on this slate. First of all, we got a London game. We got a divisional Thursday night game in Seahawks San Francisco. A reminder that I will be joining the lads on ship chasing there for the second quarter of that one tonight. That'll be fun. Really looking forward to that. Talk a little Seahawks ball. Yeah, and then we got a London game, which is the Bears and the Jaguars, as we like to say around here. And then we got a very big imminent Q tag in the Sunday night football game with the Bengals and the Giants, and Malik Neighbors still in concussion protocol as we speak, with some bad coach speak right now that it's going in the wrong direction kind of deal. So this Q tag really defines the slate in a big way, because if you trust some of the projection models out there, if you trust the good people at ETR and you just filter by this slate alone, these 6 teams, Daniel Jones is way, way up there. He is QB2, and Malik Neighbors is wide receiver 1, according to them. Cool. Now, I think those outputs are correlated in terms of the way in which they're projecting it, right? So, yeah, if you treat Neighbors as in, it really shifts your slate, because you would be taking him in like the first 2 to 3 picks there. Yeah, I don't know, guys. In the large field contest, I've been trying to push Neighbors as far as I can. In some of the small stuff, I've just been flat out fading. It does not feel good. Where are you guys at on like the defining decision of this slate?
Well, I was taking Neighbors, and I took him, at the 2-3 turn into bomb. Nice. I took him 2, because I understand my swap ranks. Got to get priority there. That's 5th in priority. He's stuck in phase 2 of the concussion protocol. That happened, that's what we had, a 10-day period to clear that, and never happened before last week's game. Still being in phase 2 is not good. He needs to progress tomorrow, or he's not playing. And in fact, he was expected to do more, and the beats are kind of saying that he's doing less than he was doing yesterday. Yeah. So
scary, man.
What's really scary is if we get, Malik Neighbors is on the practice field tomorrow, buddy. Yeah, this is going to be bonkers. So you really do need to be careful in how you play this. I think the saving grace is that this slate is loaded, and that if you do take Neighbors, you will have a swap that is like, yeah, your team is probably not live to ship, but you have some decent options to swap to if Neighbors doesn't play.
Yeah. I think that was a good evergreen reminder. Sorry, easy one. Yeah. 2 things I want to hit on that Des said there. Obviously, the 10-day window stuff that people thought he could play last week, didn't clear, whatever. You said he's in phase 2 of the concussion protocol. Reminder that there's 5 phases. I don't know they're all weighted equally. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like, oh my God, he's only less than halfway there in phase 2. I just know that there are 5 clearing protocols. So take that with what people will.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think you need 2 days consecutive of football-related activities to play.
Okay, so that means he would literally have to go.
He has to
like
practice
LPF.
He has to practice tomorrow.
Okay. Well, unfortunately for our contest, we will not know whether he practices tomorrow or not, because said lock.
Not until the next one.
Yeah. So that'll be good information for the next one there. What's your take on the situation there, Easy, with Malik Neighbors?
I don't think he's going to play. And like, and for me, when I'm playing the short slates like PTP stuff, I like to attack it with an angle. Like, I try and be more exploitative. And I just think it's much easier to try to win and just literally have 0 Malik Neighbors, and plan for that, rather than, you take him 20% of the time and you have to work. Like, this slate is deep in that you can get like you can swap to a real person, right? A lot of times that's not the case on the 2 or 3 gamers. Like, you're swapping to like Alan Lazard or actually like Xavier Gibson, or I don't know. I'm remembering like this one slate is living
Jets
rent free in
always
my
seem
head.
to be on there, right?
Yeah.
Your
But it's like
your swap
I don't
options.
think you want to do it.
Your swap options, because Tyler Lockett will go away after tonight, but your swap options will be like legit, especially if you take him in the flex position, because you can get to Bigsby. You could get bullish news on like Zach Moss, get a little leverage off
Which
all
we
the
just
chase.
got today, by the way.
Ooh, spicy, because
he's practicing, right?
Mhm.
There was a weird tweet. It's like he was off in clothes or something. It was weird. He was dressed off. I don't know what that meant. But right. I'll take your
stick around long enough, you'll find out, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a very interesting slate right now because we're dealing with these like inherent dynamics that we're not going to know until Sunday night, but we have to draft it as if we know right now. So what's been happening in the dynamic of these rooms is Malik Neighbors falls some percent of the time, and most recently has been falling more of a percent of the time right now. People will take Singletary in the last round with the Q tag because there was a really good clip going around of Nate Tice and Matt Harmon talking about how basically the most efficient run game in all of football right now is the Ravens run game, and the second most efficient run game in all of football right now is whomever plays the Bengals. So they were talking about how like this giant spot on the ground looks so good, but there's this wrinkle where it's like we just saw. I'll say Tyrone Taylor again because he's a lefty killer, but Tyrone Tracy, we just saw pop off last game after the Eric Gray fumble and kind of usurped him of the job there. Gets 18 carries, 120 whatever yards, that sort of deal. So there's this interesting dynamic in these rooms where half the room is drafting, Tank over ETN. Half the rooms are drafting Chase over Moss because there's a very frothy projection on him if Moss sits, and half the rooms are taking, Tracy over Singletary. So all these combinations are going crazy. What side of the fence are you guys on in manipulating some of these other Q tags?
In regards to, so we talked about Neighbors already. I think Moss is definitely it's going to be tough, man, because I think Chase's look good, but I think this is clearly a 1-2 punch. So I think that they're both going to project pretty similarly. They're kind of like poor man's Gibbs and Montgomery a little bit.
I think that's right. Yeah.
That's a tough call. I think, we don't have a Q tag on ETN, but I think he was limited today and he has like the shoulder thing. So he's probably going to play, but like Bigsby passes the eye test. The numbers look better. He's definitely like in my player pool. I'm really excited about Devin Singletary though. I think the Giants are just underrated as a team. And like you mentioned, the Cincinnati Bengals just have not been very good. So Singletary, I think, makes a ton of sense, right? If they have the ability to play ahead at all, that's going to be really, really bullish for Singletary. And no Neighbors, I think. I was going to say it's probably better for Singletary. I think it's probably like, a net, a neutral change, because like maybe he gets more volume, but I think Neighbors helps Singletary because he helps move the chains and keep them on the field.
Yeah, I agree with that last point. I'm like kind of shocked. Like Vegas says the Giants are going to score 22 points, which is actually like a lot. And I think that's part of that is like the disrespect for the Bengals, Bengals defense, and they're at home 21. I'm even seeing this game at 48. So like it's kind of open at 21. Yeah, so 22. So that's kind of a lot of points. I think that Singletary is going to walk back. He's not going to be Wally pipped, but I think he left with 80 to 90%, or he started the year with like 80, 90% of the job. Then it was like 70%. I think he's going to walk back into like maybe 50-50 timeshare. So I'm not super eager to draft Singletary. And I think I would try and guess right on the Moss Chase Brown and play. I think if people are more confident in Chase Brown, I like Chase Brown. He's more exciting of a football player, a fantasy football player. But what do you need from this guy in this slate is to score like a 60 yards and a score enough. Then I think, or like, God forbid 2 scores, like then Zach Moss is like shoving, right? If he goes 60 and 2.
Right.
So I think I kind of like the under-owned Moss, and you can get a swap there to one of the Giants.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think it's a good way to think through it, because Moss is both leverage and swap potential in the same way in which Singletary is, except for Singletary will be the higher owned portion. Yeah, that's a really good shout there. So like just taking like rules agnostic, although you did paint a very good picture as to why Singletary would only be like 60% snap guy now, but like rules agnostic coming into this and talent agnostic, it's just a good leverage play.
I think so. Yeah.
Very nice. You talked about the team total there on the Giants, which seemed like, like shockingly in quotations high. Highest implied team total is San Francisco going tonight. All their pieces go in the upper portion of the draft. I think it's a really interesting decision on what we do with George Kittle relative to that, because the tight end is kind of a mess of a landscape. And if you look at some of the projection models, a lot of places have George Kittle tight end 1 for the entirety of the weekend, and we find him on this slate right here, and a bunch of kind of like, shifting roles, Q tags, dust behind kind of thing. So I think it's very interesting what you guys are doing with George Kittle in terms of overall rankings. Like, are you comfortable taking him in the 3rd round, the 2nd round, getting exploitative as he is the best play on this slate? Or is it just tight end doesn't matter?
I like George Kittle a lot. The one thing that I do worry about is the way that the Seattle defense sets up to just be ran all over. So will George Kittle need to be used in a way that's helpful for us for fantasy?
Mm-hmm.
I think what makes him attractive to draft here is, one, like you said, he projects very well, and 2, this is a really deep contest. You could take a detour to grab George Kittle and get that upside and still put together a really nice team. So yeah. I think George Kittle makes a lot of sense to prioritize here. The one saving grace here is that like the Seattle Seahawks, I think, are like kind of a sleeping giant a little bit offensively. And I think, and I respect the Niners defense. I just don't think that they're just like a stonewall team that can't be scored on. I hope that this game explodes. I think it definitely has a chance to, based on the way that the Seattle Seahawks have been playing offense. And it's just been like letting Geno cook. And he kind of has been cooking, but could cook a lot more. I mean, he's definitely due for some like positive touchdown regression. So if the Seahawks can push the Niners in some form or fashion, whether that be a pick 6 because Purdy's been aggressive, or, a turnover or something, then this should be wheels up for Kittle.
Yeah, okay. I think of the positions, I'll go in reverse order. I think quarterback is the deepest / doesn't matter most. Like there's 6 and they're actually pretty equal. Like just take whoever, I think. Yep. Receiver, I think, is next, where there's like, the top end is good, but I think it's pretty deep and there's enough to go around where you can feel good with receiver almost no matter what you do. Then I would go running back, where obviously the top end is really good, but you can still feel okay if you end up with like the Swift and Chase Browns of the world. Tight end for me, it's like Kittle or bust. I think if I were to make like a relative value sheet for this slate, I think it wouldn't surprise me if Kittle was like graded in the 1st round, just based on like how much he just dominates the tight end projection, where like everyone else is just like super replaceable. / my ball knowing is like, I don't know if Evan Ingram doesn't even play. Right. Like I understand like you are granted a swap, and that's like a great thing that Underdog does. But like once that swap happens, like you've now lost a couple points, right? Versus like what you thought you were getting from Evan Ingram. So it's better than taking the 0 for sure. But like, dude, if you don't take Kittle, I don't know what the plan is at tight end. Like, I think it's pretty gross. So I think like I haven't done it, but it wouldn't shock me if Kittle like graded out as a 1st round value for people that, spreadsheeted up.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really sharp shout, and I think it's why it makes for such a good talking point here. We've seen like Noah Fant get some usage usurped in the red zone, 2 design touches for AJ Barner last time out. The Cole Kmet role looks more and more solid, but you're really relying on like volume there and him like staying ahead in the pecking order of Keenan Allen. So there's a lot of question marks there. The Evan Ingram one will just be a flat like swap to Strange if he is out kind of deal. And Strange has scored 2 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks, so it's not terrible. Not sure what to do with Gesicki. Like ETR was super bullish about Gesicki's route running and that sort of stuff going into last week, but we also see a soft flippening of the Eric All stuff. And then Theo Johnson for me, nice expanded role last week without Neighbors there, some over the middle stuff there, but I think he's like fully just a play if Neighbors is out kind of deal. So just, tripling and doubling down on the notion that Kittle stands out amongst the crowd in a big way.
Yeah. It's like a half Penn State tight end slate, but like not in a good way. Gesicki, Theo Johnson, Brenton Strange.
Yeah, there you go.
George Kittle's my generation's Tyler Warren, exactly.
Nice. Okay, guys, let's talk about some of the scroll potential. I've been scrolling to Bigsby. That's kind of been like my one little, fun one to get to there. I haven't gone much further. I've obviously done a little bit of the Tracy stuff, but at running back in particular, those have kind of been mine. I really like your shout there, Easy, as like Moss, as like Q-tag leverage off of people doing the Singletary thing and then having a swap to basically the same outs and situation. You could even swap to Singletary if Moss ends up inactive and Singletary ends up active. So I do like that little wrinkle there. And if he's your second one, you could also go to swapping to a flex. There's going to be wide receiver options in that game. Like Slayton might end up popping. We saw him go off last week in a good way without Neighbors. So if we end up with no Neighbors and the Neighbors guy swaps to Wandall or someone else like that, like we can go ahead and take Slayton as well. So I think that's a good lever to pull. Anyone else you guys want to mention at the running back scrolling down here?
Ooh. I mean, Roshan.
Right? Oh, yeah. Falling in the end zone. Yeah.
So I'm on Swift here, but like we kind of talked about, they kind of force fed that touchdown to Swift. They really gave him that. That was a lollipop touchdown last week whenever they gave him that. And my gut take is that the Bears roll on the Jags this week, but I am a little worried that like just the fact that this game is in London always, I think, it like throws a huge wrench into the range of outcomes. I mean, just being across the pond, etc. But Jags defense looks really bad. I think the Bears offense is ascending. The Bears defense is really solid, especially against the air. But like Trevor Lawrence has sucked this season anyways. I'm surprised that the spread isn't larger in this game. But I really like the Bears here. So I think Roshan is definitely scroll worthy. That said, I mean, I haven't taken Roshan yet because I've been prioritizing running back pretty early in these, but I think he can definitely get drafted.
Cool. Easy.
I think it's a good shout. And like, as someone who had DeAndre Swift last week, I was like very keen and to like what was happening in that game. And he was playing well and he got stopped at the one a couple of times. And they like force fed him the ball because I think they wanted to reward him for playing well. But if it wasn't for that, I think their plan is to give Roshan the goal line. So like if you think, let's say 30, 40 yards in a touchdown, like I think, yes, if you think that game that he had right there is enough, then I think he's draftable for sure, because I do think that's not a fluke. Like they gifted Swift a touchdown that he kind of earned in a weird way. I don't know if I'm like articulating it well. I think their plan is Roshan's the goal line back, and every now and then they're like, yeah, Swift, here, you had a good game. Everyone is making fun of you for, bouncing the ball too much. Like, here, why don't you get your own tutty this one time?
Well, it was interesting because Swift got him down there. Then they gave him 2 carries inside the 5 or whatever it was, inside the 3 or whatever. He gets stuffed twice. Then Roshan comes in and scores. Then they do basically the exact same sequence. They do the exact same sequence, but then they bring Roshan in. Roshan doesn't get it in, and then they go, okay, Swift, come back in. And then Swift runs it in, bounces it to the outside, scores his touchdown. And then later in the ball game, they're like, okay, we got Swift his one. Let's go back to what worked the very first time. And they put Roshan in to score at the goal line. So yes, I do agree with your guys' sequencing there. Okay, let's talk about the wide receiver position, and then let's rip a couple of these drafts. Everybody's going to talk through the top. I think it's interesting to note that the DJ Moore projection when this first started was above all these San Francisco guys, or maybe it was the last contest. where he had a 14.6. So the combos of DJ Moore falling to like the left side of the board were less frequent, and now they're abundant kind of deal. So I just think it's something to be aware of when talking through. But man, there are some premium names that don't get drafted every single time here, because like the Robinson stuff will, say what you will about PPR merchant, blah, 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 but it'll look good if Neighbors isn't there. Jackson Smith and Jigba scored a touchdown last week and has multiple weeks of good target share there in a row. You could do the Lockett lever. You could go the Chicago lever here. I think you kind of leave Gabe Davis alone there, but nobody's taking Slayton. No one's taking Juwan Jennings, who led the team in targets 2 games ago. Some thoughts on any of these scroll down options, guys?
I would probably say Wandale is not even a scroll option. I think he is like as close to 100% drafted as you can get without being 100% drafted.
Okay.
Good pick. I really like him in this spot, especially if Neighbors isn't going. He's about to get like a huge bump to his drafted percentage as well. Because of like the way that I'm playing this right now, like I'm taking a ton of Rome Odunze in this spot. I think he's primed to blow. I think the Jags suck. And I think Caleb is continuing to get better as the season goes along. So that is leaving me without a lot of JSN and Lockett, but I want to mix in more JSN and Lockett because I believe, like I was saying before, that Gino's cooking and they're going to be super aggressive in this game. So I think that top 3 that you have there in the ranks are all good picks. And I am mixing in some Keenan, but like, I prefer Rome for the ceiling, but I don't want to be like caught with my pants down with 0 Keenan because I just had like a huge stance that I went way too aggressive on because I thought I was right. But I'm trying to have some more humility than that.
Love it. In regards to your Rome likeage there, this is a chart from Sam Hoppin. Sam Hoppin puts these out every single week. He does great work over there. I will show you guys where am I looking?
Looking for Jags?
Yeah, I'm looking for the Jags.
The Chiefs, there it is.
There you go. 32, aka league worst in expected points added via the pass against their defense. So if you're looking for a team to get absolutely cooked via the air, I would probably suggest the one that is allowing the most fantasy points added against them. So good shout there with Rome as a perimeter wide receiver with a high ceiling, Nez.
Thank you, Sam, for the confirmation bias.
The other one that I would throw in there when I retweeted this morning was on the other side of the equation. Year to date, I was looking at where's Seattle, blah, blah, blah. Seahawks down here allowing the Yak Monsters. Hold on, let me see. This one. This is great radio.
Even better video.
Yeah. I can't remember what I was looking at, but they were basically getting cooked by the Yak Monsters.
They're probably going to get cooked hard tonight, right? I mean, the saving grace for them is that they're at home and it's a short week, so maybe that can just like limit the scoring, but they're still awfully banged up defensively, right?
Yeah, they're missing their second best corner in Reek Woolen tonight. They're missing their 2 best pass rushers as well, Byron Murphy and Nuosu, or however you say his name there. And Debo historically has absolutely cooked Seattle. Anecdotal, do with that information what you will. But yeah, it does feel like kind of like I was very interested when you said they got cooked on the ground, because everything I was looking at, Nez, was they get cooked in the air, with the exception of the Witherspoon side of the field is basically what I was looking at. So I was really digging a pass game from the 49ers tonight.
I think that was just kind of seeing the Niners have 4 tight ends active today. So little like reading between the lines that they're trying to just run the shit out of the football a little bit.
Nice. Yeah, good nugget.
So
hopefully that doesn't mean that Kittle isn't playing.
I know that sort of like had me like a little like iffy on Kittle, but I'm still taking Kittle.
Kittle's going to be Kittle. I don't think he's ever been 100%. Like maybe his first football game ever in his life when he was like 6 years old. They're probably like 2 years old. Like George Kittle's probably playing against high schoolers. I don't think he's been 100% since. Yeah.
speaking to that, Kittle went LP, but he went full P Wednesday.
Okay.
So
Sweet.
That's kind of bullish on the Kittle stuff there. No Q tag
Need that.
on the site. Anyone else you guys want to shout out here? Easy. Anyone of the scroll variety?
I was
Any
gonna say
matchup stuff?
I do think Slayton is a very professional receiver, but it's a probably bad click without the neighbors information. So probably one to swap to. But leverage wise, like I do think it wouldn't be a bad idea to put him towards the top of your swap ranks if the neighbors news breaks that way, rather than, you know, if you're saying Wandale goes like almost every time, like what does Slayton go? 1 out of every 10?
He's going to be
So.
probably a top swap
Maybe
option.
even-
So he's
Oh, you
going to
think
be
you think he'll be swapped to pretty often then?
75% of
Yeah.
the time, I'd say 25% Wandale.
Okay.
Still,
Yeah.
so
So
like,
still, I think like Slayton, big play potential, leverage, etc. I think that's a good spot. But you guys got like Rome is going to be a big target for me. I think he's going to break out sooner than later.
Love it, guys. Yeah, let's hop in here and see what it looks like on the fly. I do think it matters when we're talking about like which contest we're dealing with. Like I will do way more of like the isolated game environment or the onslaught stacking stuff. Although I did get a couple of them ruined today in my $100 draft. I set up that nice Chase, T, and Higgins one, and someone ripped Burrow for me for the lulls. Light both our 100 on fire there. But
Yeah.
I just talking about which contest you're dealing with here. Primetime Palooza, man, like just from a macro lens, whoever gets neighbors to fall in the handshake agreed upon room that the Q tag slides to like pick 11 because everyone thinks he's not playing, and then someone finally bites the bullet on him. Like if he ends up playing, that will be the GM of what we're dealing with here. But if you're playing the $25 and the $100, don't be afraid to get more densely correlated and play like a game environment play and hope that one of these other spots flops or something like that, versus the Primetime Palooza with 14,000 entrants where you have to hit the absolute nuts, right? So just things to be mindful. So we'll do the big boy contest first, as in the largest of them right here. And like this is the one where we want to find some of those unique angles, some of those fun scrolls, some of the stuff that like took down this slate in the past was like the AJ Barner one, or you needed Jalen Tolbert plus Rico instead of needing CeeDee Lamb. So in small games, man, like you just know on these small 3-game slates that wacky shit happens. Like go ahead and scroll down to Juwan Jennings as the leverage, as Slayton as the leverage, Moss as the leverage,
Yeah. And I think it's a good point. Like neighbors goes round 3 often enough where like even if you think he's playing, it's probably you don't want to click him in round. Like there's going to be because it's sort of by projection, a certain percent of the lobbies, someone is clicking neighbors auto draft in the first round because they forgot they joined or whatever, or they like the projection. They didn't think about it.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard to show up with round 1 or possibly even round 2 neighbors, knowing like there's a lot of dead money with early neighbors and there's a lot of really good money sitting with neighbors in round 3. So if you think he's playing, I think just like you have to push it in, it's fine in late round 2 or round 3, but
yeah, Kobe Short's saying if neighbors falls to 11, the draft will get thrown out.
That.
I highly doubt it.
Nope.
It's really close. Yeah.
No shot.
So.
Yeah, that's an NBA Q tag lesson. Okay, guys, we got friends and family, All Day Ray, Holding the Rock, and E White in here. We rolled a 3-hole. Who are you guys selecting here? It's been Ken Walker for me.
I like it.
Yes.
Okay.
I love Ken Walker today. In every form of speculation around sports.
I fully agree with you. And one of the biggest reasons I wanted to share was from our friend Greg, Coach Speak Index here, just going through all these pressers over the last week of basically over and over again. Grubb and McDonald both
gotta run the ball. We gotta run the ball.
You gotta establish it, baby. You gotta run the ball.
A broken record. That's awesome to see.
Yeah. Neighbors comes back to us at 6 here. Is that where you guys feel comfortable to start considering him? Or do we still think the tier break is stark enough that we can do like Ayuk, DJ Moore, something like that, or Kittle?
This has been Ayuk for me, but I also like Kittle.
Let's do the
I go
Kittle
Kittle.
thing. Yeah,
I meant
let's do
DJ
the-
Moore.
Okay,
Sorry, Ayuk was a Freudian slip because I saw him, but it's been more for me. But I do like Kittle.
All right, let's do this. Let's do the Kittle one. Let's play the he separates so much at tight end. He's the guy you need. When you guys are building a Kittle team, how do you think through it? Like to get it to first place, will it have to have Ayuk? Will it have to I mean Purdy, or will it be a double stack variety? Like what goes through your mind when you take Kittle early?
I mean, I'm not really thinking too micro as far as roster construction when I take George Kittle. I think what I understand is like I'm a little behind the 8 ball at wide receiver, obviously, right? We went Ken Walker, George Kittle. So I think I'm punting QB in this instance, and if I get Brock Purdy, that's awesome.
sure.
But otherwise, hopefully I have a QB that I can stack when it's all said and done, and usually I do.
All right.
Yeah.
I've got
cool.
like a very strong take that I just think the Giants roll on the Bengals, man. I think they're a very interesting team. This matchup. I want to talk about it.
This board really gifted us, or maybe this is how they're always going, but we did not get punished, so to speak.
Yeah, for taking Kittle in the second, it's
Yeah.
basically like we took him in the third. Which of these wide receivers would you like to pick, or would you like to pick someone else because E. White can only take one of them?
It should be one of these, I think.
I like more, but if you want to take Ayuk, go ahead.
All right, let's take more. No. We're drafting as a team.
Yeah.
Ayuk is nice for like the game stack, just like fully going in on this. But yeah, maybe we can wait till after this draft. But like, I think that's a very interesting matchup, Giants and Bengals.
Okay. Yeah, E. White's asking.
He's also picking directly after us. So.
412. Well, hello, E. White.
Yeah, everyone keeps talking about this, like going to the Travis Scott concert last night. I can't imagine that's good for a dude with a concussion. Just listening to.
Oh my God.
I've been to a couple Travis Scott concerts and they fucking
that bass
suck.
just rattling your brain. God. Are you shitting me? Who allowed him to go to that?
That's tough. That's a tough look.
That's not good.
Do you want to do like wild concussion speculation on the stream and like hot takes and stuff? So I have like a lukewarm one. Oh, okay. What a gift. What a gift.
Comes back to us here.
Sprint to the podium. We'll have so much time to talk. Yeah. 20 seconds of clock to talk. So there's like counteracting forces, right? Where I think it's a really bad, like with the Tua stuff, and even Josh Allen last week, by the way. Like, did you see the quotes around Josh Allen?
I didn't see the quotes, but I saw the incident. Yeah.
Yeah, but they asked him something like what happened there, and he's like, "Oh, like my job is to just like answer the questions that they ask me, and I was cleared, and like I have nothing else to say." Like it was something to that effect, where it was like, I don't know, reading between the lines, it was like he was like, "Yeah, I was concussed, but like I answered the questions,
but I won.
the way that I'm trained to. I passed the test, right?"
Well,
not something to laugh about, but whatever.
That's the nature of it, though, because I got a buddy who used to play national team rugby sevens there, and he knows the test like that.
Dude, you
right?
get coached to take the test.
Yeah.
It's a really unfortunate like human thing, but the NFL is a business, and these guys like they also want to play, and that's their decision too.
Right. Yeah.
So all that. So like, there's a lot of very prominent things, but also it's like Sunday Night Football. Like, so you on the one hand, it's like, oh, Neighbors is like the only thing relevant about the Giants. Are they going to bench him?
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Just to cut you off.
You take the quarterback you want because guy behind us can't take anything but QB tight end.
Guys boxed out here. How would you guys want to line this plane though? Let's talk about it a little bit, just so like if E. White, snap picks a couple, we got a plan formulated. I think we take Purdy here, and then we got to fill out our flex. What suits us best here?
Got a few ways to go here, I think.
Yeah.
If you think this game shoots out, we can just go full game stack and take JSN.
Mm-hmm.
I think Scamdale Robinson is probably going to project for like double-digit targets comfortably. Singletary, I think, is a little more risky, but I do really like Singletary in this spot as well. This is tough. I think it's between the top three, though.
Yeah.
All right, let's vote. I vote JSN.
Seconded.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. JSN tonight.
Beautiful team.
Yeah, it was a good one. Yeah, you play a little game environment stuff here, and then you just need the high scorer on the slate to be DJ Moore from somewhere else in the third round there. But yeah, this kind of breaks out. This speaks volumes to like the easy plan there. Oh, I like this. Going the Yoshi Voss backdoor stack with the Joe Burrow in the large contest. That's a fun way to get
You or me,
unique.
Holt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fun one. But that one right there, the room broke perfectly for us. But we afforded ourselves the opportunity to have the room break perfectly to us because of the George Kittle pick, right? So if we do think George Kittle is like, if we think Neighbors isn't playing and we think George Kittle is kind of like the skeleton key of unlocking the onesies relative to like the positional difference on this slate, you can still build some super nice teams by prioritizing tight end early.
Exactly. I think that just really showcased it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's jump one more of these bad boys here, and then maybe I'll try and do the bomb, and we'll call it.
Oh, so I think you probably cut me off, but I'll continue to speak on the political topic of concussions, where it's not in football. So it's like, do they want Neighbors to play because he's a superstar, or do they not want the young kid coming back from a concussion? So like those are the two wolves. Inside you are two wolves, and I don't know which one is right.
Yeah, when you frame it that way from like a showcase, a money-making ability, like you really want those two LSU wide receivers going head-to-head in your primetime game of the week. Like one is the emerging star, and then one is like the solidified kind of guy.
I can't believe he was at that concert, man.
Yeah,
that has to be like a top 3 like do not do's if you are recovering from a concussion, is like get your brain like slightly rattled for 2 hours, because the bass at rap concerts is like insane. I was gonna say I went to the concert yesterday, and this is so boomer of me. The volume.
You wearing plugs?
No, I didn't, and the volume was perfect. I usually do bring plugs just in case. The volume was a perfectly manageable level. It was great. Everybody had a good time, and my ears weren't like overly ringing. It was
soft.
It was fantastic. I said to Brie, I was like, this temperature, this volume's amazing. My ears don't bother me at all.
Oh, man. Jordan Mason here?
Yeah.
Easy?
If I was drafting one team, I'll let this time out on Mason, and I would take Ken Walker.
Oh, very interesting.
I really, my gut, and it's wrong. It's for sure don't draft this way, but if I had one team and I really wanted my guys, I like Ken Walker so much today.
Okay.
All right. I like it. That is exciting, and that's spicy, and it's counter to, well, see, I beg to differ here. I think if you're doing 150 of them and you're autoing and you're playing the projection game and like you're doing whatever, you're doing shit like Chris just did there. You're doing, funky stuff like that. You're trusting the room. You're trying to get different combos, that sort of thing. If I have one silver bullet tonight and I know I only want to spend $5 or $10 on this draft, just fucking get your guys, man.
Yeah. This is a fun spot.
Debo, DK, Ayuk, Higgins.
But behind us went with who?
Chase.
Okay. I would take Metcalf, and then you get whichever Niner falls, unless he double taps.
Didn't get it quick enough.
It doesn't matter.
It's all right. It's not the end of the world. Still,
I would have said like my truth serum is like I think I like Debo the most, but I think I would try and play he's not like I would call his bluff on taking the 2 Niners, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think that's a good game theory. That's a good leveling war to have. That's our friend Dooley Data on the corner there. Who do you guys take next here? Do we think about quarterback, or we got 2 Niners thus far? Who do you like?
I think Higgins is interesting. I also really like DeAndre Swift.
Yeah,
I haven't been taking a lot of BTJ.
I like the Swift shot.
Okay. I do feel like Swift is like a tier break in my mind at the running back position. Like he is the third one off the board in my mind, and I take him, 3rd or 4th round when I don't have one yet. So why don't we load him up in this flex and see how this turns out here?
I'm worried BTJ is just like super him and has another good game against the Bears, but like I touched the stove last week with Deontay against the Bears and got burnt really, really bad. So now I'm like, can't draft BTJ because like lost all my money last week trying to do that. But it is a London game and Jags are basically at home.
Yeah, that's a fair point. For 2 weeks, they're basically at home, right? Yeah, I wonder if they did that because of like hurricane season, fade hurricane season, go over there. Plus, it's a revenue thing, right? I think they have a really good the owner Khan, right? Like he because he takes AEW to London all the time at Wemby. There, he has like a really good connection with that like community, right? Like he has like
squared circle now. I love it.
All right, guys.
So Dooley can't take a receiver, so I think you take tight end here, unless you know,
tight end's kind of barren.
We don't need one.
But if we don't want to get locked out, we can take Komet.
All right,
because I like Komet.
I think you play Komet, right? Because Dooley has to take a running back, which we can't take, and then he's going to take QB tight end, so you might as well beat him to the box.
I agree.
Right.
So he takes the Singletary stuff, then he stacks up Joe Burrow, who is almost everybody's QB1 on the slate right now. Now the question is, do you get ahead at quarterback and do a Purdy double here? Do you set something else up like a JSN game environment and let the room play out who you get at quarterback? Or
you want to scroll?
Yeah, sure.
Take Caleb.
I have a scroll. Yep. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Well, we're scrolling up for Caleb, and then we're going to scroll in the last round.
All right. There we go.
Right?
Yeah.
That's exactly
we stake claim on the Bears.
All right. Yep. We stake claim on the Bears here. We play San Francisco through those two, and then I imagine you guys are going to want me to stack up Caleb again with another Bear here, or do you want to do something different? That was our spot.
I was going to scroll for Rome.
You guys like Rome?
I like the Rome
Make
shot.
it a little triple stack on the Bears. Bears roll, Niners roll. You just need those two teams to get home.
Easy game.
On a 3-game slate, I think it's super, super duper viable.
Absolutely. All right. Well done, gentlemen. Okay. Maybe John's boomer tendencies really make the show exciting. All right. I lied here. We got Neighbors officially DMP today. We kind of knew that without knowing that, but yeah.
We also got Downs DNP today for the Colts, and JT, which I would have expected, DNP as well. So is Alec Pierce about to go nuclear? Many are asking.
Colts could be down so bad this week.
Oh, they are. Wow. They are down so bad.
I wonder who's going to play quarterback for them. All right, I kind of rugged the chat here. I don't really want to fill 100 right now. I want to fill a pick 'em for this evening to get a little sweat for the game tonight.
Just one more addition to the Colts practice report. Anthony Richardson FP, baby.
Oh wow.
Oh nice.
There you go. So
Trey Sermon also FP.
Yeah.
Which was kind of, I don't know how much it matters. Like in these streets, like at some I don't know. Tyler Goodson people were talking about in like the deepest of depths of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Dark place. Oh man. Hey, GA, positive comments only. 300 of us hanging out. We are gonna provide some locked in picks here.
Yeah, we're gonna
lock in our picks.
We're locking in.
Lock in and focus on what's happening here, and we are going to place some pick 'em entries.
When you play the entries, they are locked in.
Yes, by definition.
And we are also locking in and like seeing
triple entendre.
Yes. Man, the baseball was so close last night. We got bailed out on that. We went 3 for 4 there. Ohtani had a multitude of opportunities and missed a home run down the right field line by a couple feet there because we would have got that one in. But yeah, guys, what are we thinking for tonight? Let's keep it tonight focused. I think I know where Easy wants to start based on who he wanted to select.
I'm scared. Go make it go last because this is too good. This is too good.
Okay.
So not to tease the chat, but I want to make sure enough people that also want to lock in with us can have access to this super premium, absolute locked in pick.
Locked in. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So save that one for the end because I'm scared.
Okay.
I don't want
like
Numi to take it from us.
Okay. Yeah, we will save it to
Oh,
make
no,
sure.
Oh no.
Oh no, did he?
Ken Walker's
Right,
gone.
we'll find something. We'll find it.
Hold on. We'll hit
We'll
the
find something.
refresh
We'll
and
find
maybe we'll get it back. Okay.
No, it's currently down. Oh no, it's back.
Okay, nice. All right. What is something that you guys like?
I mean, I think we should look at Ken Walker. Should we not? Like, this is easy.
No. We're listing.
Oh, we can go. Yeah, it's okay.
We're
It's
saving
okay.
it for
It's
the
okay.
last.
Oh,
one.
sorry. Okay.
guy-
I apologize. I apologize.
What are you drafting?
No, I'm looking up Ken Walker picks right now. I like Jordan Mason.
Okay. What do you like about Jordan Mason?
Looking at the rushing attempts here, 18.5 is a ton. That's probably not what I want to do. Especially for a game this tight. Let's see here. Never mind on that. Let me look at his rivals, maybe, but
I wonder what is
there's so many rivals. I'm scrolling for days trying to just look at his game log, and I keep getting rivals picks.
17.5 longest rush
for Mason.
That seems high, no?
It does feel high. Yeah.
Those are always fun.
I mean, it's so sweaty. It's so sweaty to take a lower on something that you got to watch all game to make sure he doesn't run.
It doesn't break one. Dude, imagine having that for like Derrick Henry last week. And
right. Yeah.
Like Derrick Henry's got to be the worst person to have a lower for the longest rush.
3,
so
3, 90.
Overtime, 50 yarder.
Oh no. So Easy likes Ken Walker.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
I like Geno Smith. Is it
Ken
possible
Walker.
that these things can coexist in one pick 'em?
For sure.
Yeah, I think it's relative to
home,
what
man.
you like about the Geno. Yeah.
We could just do it like very clean and play Geno fantasy points.
What's the number, Ness?
17.95.
Okay. 17.95 Geno.
I think that this is pretty solid.
It plays with the thesis that they're moving the ball.
It sure does. And I do anticipate them moving the ball. I anticipate them being pretty aggressive against this Niners team. The spread, I believe somebody said in the chat, is only 3 points, 3.5. So this to me implies a pretty tight game. Geno also, I mean, I don't think he's going to run for 72 yards, but he ran for 72 yards against the Giants. He has some points baked in with his legs. I mean, like, if you take away his rushing yards, like, I think Geno can get here in the air.
Okay.
Yeah, if he throws 2 touchdowns, he's like almost all the way there with that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Respect it. It's in. It is locked in to the entry.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. How about Debo rushing yards?
Ooh.
What's it at?
13.5. Does that seem high? I think
you kind of have to ask yourself, like, do we think Debo? Do we think the health is good with Debo? If you think that is the reason why the performance hasn't really been there.
Mm-hmm.
I think
2 and 3 rushing attempts.
I think that this is like a classic back and forth. Like Shanahan can choose who has a good game. Like he can decide right now, this is a Debo game, and we don't know that. Like I think it's just very likely last week they decided to make it an Ayuk game. So I don't know. I think this is probably a Debo game just because he does a little bro science, but
man.
like
it is bro
like
science.
They don't want to make. Ayuk is fat and happy, no pun intended. Now it's time to feed Debo.
I kind of
so
agree.
You got, like one way. I don't know.
I like this.
Good. What do you like?
I'm trying to find something like we gotta get spicy somewhere. No.
Yeah. Well, let's make the core. Let's make a 3 core, and then let's get spicy.
Okay.
But let's add in the secret weapon here.
The secret weapon is no longer a secret. It went from 4 to 4.5 first downs. I don't mind that anyway. We'll just say
Okay.
screw it. We're not going to push.
Right.
You're the
5
first
first
down
downs is really
whisperer.
not a lot.
Okay.
5 first downs for Ken Walker is really not a lot.
Okay, so the secret weapon that we were looking for was that Ken Walker first downs one. It was 4 when we started the show. Now it's 4 and a bit. We're gonna go throw that one in the chat for everybody there.
I just think like the usage for Ken Walker, like how many passes did he catch? Like people thought
8 targets.
Like
yeah.
Like I don't know. Sharps is not getting in the way of Ken Walker, I don't think.
Yeah, and you know what's good about both of these plays that we just put together? This is the first week in which they didn't even list Debo on the injury report at all since like returning, and this is also the first week in which Ken Walker never appeared on the injury report at all since both the abdomen and the other thing. So I'm going into the future on this one.
I like it, man. Ken Walker's a dog.
All right. I saw some good suggestions from the chat here that I just want to bring up while we think about how we're going to spice it up. Jump Free saying 49.5 rushing. You can spice to 8-2 on the Debo one there. Yeah, like Debo getting one big one.
I like that.
Nick saying if you lean into the passing yards thesis that like and the passing game thesis for Geno there, that they are going, pass rate over expectation highest in the league. And this is a shootout. You can get up over 4 touchdowns for Geno. It's thin, but 9-9 for that one.
Oh, that was Geno, not Debo. I was going to say for Debo.
4 touchdowns for Debo. You can't put in kicker and just find kickers, I guess.
What do you
type in like field goal or XP?
FG works.
XP. Yeah.
FG works.
So what do you guys think about this new Matthew Wright guy? He's brand new to the team. Are they going to play aggressive in this game where we think that the Seahawks can go blow for blow? Are they going to settle for field goals with this kid, Matthew Wright? Isn't Seattle kind of a tough place to kick in anyways?
Open air on both sides. Get a tough cross breeze there, Nez. I like this. Yeah, it's loud. Lots of false starts. Yep, I like this narrative.
I also think, I would take the lower here if I had to, because shout out to me for the L word there, by the way.
Oh, nice. Well done. The correct L word.
Good L word.
The good L word.
I like it because I've been attacking Seattle. I think they're a good team, but like of their front 7, I think like they have like 12 injured players. Somehow like don't check the math on that because it's obviously not true, but like they're so banged up.
Yeah.
So I think if it's like 4th and short, and if we think this game can be competitive, possibly even high scoring, just like I think Shanahan is going to go get that yard or 2 instead of kicking with the new guy.
Mr. Goodboy just sprinted by with a shirt of mine. Classic. No, I like where you're going with that. Easy. I'm bringing up the practice report right now as we speak. We aforementioned, we've already got 3 out tags there. Might get Cam Young back this week. He was designated to return in full practice all week there, but you got some more question marks in the safety in Love, and it's double questionables at the linebacker position.
Yeah, so they're getting slightly healthier, but even still, I think you got good outs there.
Okay, cool. All right, we got let's go back here. They're telling me to refresh because we got some more Matthew Wright.
It's not a refresh. You just have to click on his page because we're only looking at field goals, but like we like the field goals because they might score 4 touchdowns.
What's his kicker points?
7.5.
7.5.
I mean, it's basically the same thing, right? It's he's not getting to 7.5 unless he kicks 2 field goals, unless they kick like 5
that's
extra
interesting.
points. It's not happening.
Yeah, what do you guys prefer?
1, are they going to score 5?
No, I think I prefer if you're going to take the lower, if we're saying like it's not a Matthew Wright game, I think you take the field goals.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Should we add the Ken Walker back in here?
Let's find something else. But like bullish Ken. Like how spicy can we get with Ken?
On desktop,
like
it's limited.
Options?
We could do straight up rushing touchdown. We get 1.13 spice on his rushing touchdown. I like that. Like, I'll take the 0.13x if like you don't.
Yeah, I said I don't mind that at all.
Okay,
I
you don't
think
mind.
I think that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Okay.
if he's scoring, it's probably on the ground anyways. So
hmm
I'm into that.
hmm
About it. Okay. I like it.
A
Should we
little
go back
spice.
to the Debo well, or should we play some other sides of the ball game here?
Let's maybe just take a peek at Kittle.
Okay, sure.
Just a peek.
Kittle, 1-4 for a rush and or receiving touchdown there. 4.5 receptions. You get a little spice. You could first half touchdown it up there. 6 targets.
I was looking at that targets number earlier, and that's come up from 5. I think 6 is probably a good number. I think that's probably
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
I don't hate the touchdown. What was the touchdown? It was 1-4. I think
1-4.
that's not bad.
Yeah.
I don't think that's bad.
If you want a box score watch, I have no conviction in this. I just want to like throw it out there. Maybe you guys feel stronger about it than I do. His longest reception is 20 yards. I know Debo can house one, but like last game, 8 receptions for 64 yards. Against the Pats, 4 receptions, 45 yards. Vikings, 7 receptions, 76 yards. Just isn't really shaping up for him to have a longest reception of 20 yards. I don't feel super strongly about it, but I think if you're gonna use that analysis,
that was a Kittle one.
But like he can always house one, so like that sucks.
Wait, for Kittle or for Debo?
Yeah,
Kittle.
you said okay. Yeah. You said Debo in the middle there, and then I started scrolling to Debo. Okay, so that was a Kittle take on the 20.5.
They both have like fun names to say, so I think it must have just like got thrown in there in my brain.
Guys, I kind of like what we got here. Like not pushing the envelope too hard. We just pick 2 touchdown scores from either side. That kind of correlates with, Wright not getting the field goals as well because we took a touchdown in there. We can add that 31% profit boost because it is Boosttober. Get this thing to 12.2. 100 USD gets us 1,200.
Bada bing.
That's 12 to bombs.
That is 12 to bombs, which I have seemingly given away multiple weeks now.
Gotta figure out how to make money off this contest.
It's too good. It's really too good an idea.
Really want to. Really want to.
Okay, this is an interesting one. Kyle Juszczyk as like the 6.5 receiving yards. I think they're starting to trust Jordan Mason a little bit more with the receiving work. We saw Juszczyk be used heavily the first.
But the thing is like spell check on island games is just like a smash.
Oh, he's
if you
want
to go 120% bro science.
Yeah.
Did you see? I forget why it came up, and
share that one in the chat.
I respect them as like pioneers in the biz, but like now Roto World is kind of clickbait with their headlines and stuff. But they tweeted one like 49ers don't trust Jordan Mason in the pass game. As like I saw that as like I was like, what? Like this, like trouble in paradise. Like it seems like Jordan Mason's fine, but
interesting.
It's an interesting angle with Juszczyk there.
Okay. Let's see what you get docked when you take the Jordan Mason one, and then we'll look up Kyle because obviously I can't spell check. Oh yeah, nice. We don't get docked. Okay, cool. That's a 3x.
One simple trick.
And then do we go back to the Ken Walker first downs wall?
I mean, I was going to suggest, and you can, like for sure. Geno 34.5 pass attempts, I think, is a generational higher. That's the closest thing I can say to the L word. But like I said, man, they've been playing so aggressive.
GH.
It's GH. I mean, you can do whatever you want, man. I think 34.5 pass attempts is very solid for Geno Smith tonight. Okay. They get there in neutral games. This is projected to be a very fun game. Now, maybe you can say, does this pairing actually like correlate well? I think that would be nitpicking, but you could definitely.
Well, it's a good thing is we're not getting. It's fun now that they dock. It's fun to find ones that don't dock you. Like this is just the standard 6x for a 3.
Yeah.
which you love to see. So
All right.
if it is correlated, it feels good, right?
Let's do
Let me
it.
see if Establish the Run can confirm my priors on the Geno thing.
Sure.
I think it's going to be close.
All right. We'll share that one with the chat there. Those are the three. Ship chasing, we'll have a bunch more to get on there too. So pay attention to the Discord and that sort of thing. Oh, wow.
They've got him at
Speaking of
36.
Devils,
Oh,
What?
Naz.
What happened?
Falcons running back Bijan Robinson popped on the injury report today as LP due to a hamstring.
Oh man, it was the hamstring initially, and then last week it was the
Is it shoulder?
No, it was shoulder initially, then
Yeah.
hamstring midweek, and then we were talking about why that might kick into the usage a little bit. Oh, gross.
He's about to
okay.
be out for the season with a Nancy Kerrigan injury.
That is sad.
Who's to say who's responsible for it?
That's a sad thought. I just want to bring it up to people's attention there while we were having that conversation. If you guys are in the Ship Chasing Discord alongside Pete, they have posted their core and they have posted their 5-leg one for this evening. And it coincides with some of the stuff that we like. It coincides with some of the hires, but they went into the rivals tab and they have 3 rivals that they like. So it'll counterbalance what we just did right now. So go check that one out.
I love the rivals today too. I think if you are really confident in Debo, there's a lot of ways you can play Debo rivals today.
Yep, and that's some of the ways in which they chose. But I'm not going to dox it. I'm not going to share it yet because I want, if you're a member of the community there
For sure,
in
get
the
first
Discord,
grabs.
get first grabs at it, and then yeah. How do you join Ship Chasing? It is a thread within the Deposit Kingdom Discord as well. So seeing as though you are a member here, you could also be a member there. It is yeah. I mean, if you just pull up the old Deposit Kingdom.
I think the first thing you have to do is hit like here.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's mandatory.
And then you might have to sub to their YouTube to get into that. I think it might be a private channel for YouTube members there.
All right, guys, we just crossed the 2-hour mark there. Let's tie a bow on this bad boy. Thank you so much, Easy, for joining us. Everybody check out ezdfs.xyz. That was the tool in which we used at the front end of the show there to do the Battle Royale drafts. Very, very cool. We will not use the S word in referring to it, but it is some iteration of the Sims. The Sims. Any parting words for the people, guys?
To the guest?
Go Rangers. Go Yankees. That's all I got, man.
Go Yankees. Go.
I'll do the Easy's work for him. Go to
Steelers.
ezdfs.xyz if you want the sheets.
Free
that
week.
we're playing
Free
with.
week. Free week. If you don't like it, cancel it. If you want to run all your emails through it.
Nez got his John blocker on today.
All I heard was Sims. He needs to reiterate it. He needs to say the website. Don't you got it? It's marketing 101.
That's what I did.
He has to say it again.
Oh, again.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
There we go.
If you made it here, I'm happy.
There we go. Yeah, give us a like, hit that subscribe, that notification bell on your way out the door. I will be hanging out in the primetime to bomb streets to get those last 2 in there in the next 20 minutes here as I take Mr. Good Boy to the park, the daily routine there as I scroll for the button. I will be joining the guys on Ship Chasing this evening for the second quarter there. Make sure you guys are tapped in and following along with some of their pick'em stuff. Going to have some fun sweat equity this evening if you guys are playing alongside us and playing alongside them tomorrow. Off and on the clock, 2:30 p.m. Eastern with Peter Overzet will be right here on the channel. And then No Strip Nez, ?
Absolutely. We're back tomorrow night.
Love it. Love it. For the members only. If you guys are not a member, link in the bio, join up. It's cheaper than a Battle Royale now that the Battle Royale is $7. That gives you 1 month's full access there to all of our, behind the paywall ones. Thursday, generally speaking, Primetime Palooza is one of them. And then No Strip Nez on Friday nights, filling those 12-person lobbies there. All right. Thanks again, Easy. Thank you, Nez. Everybody's favorite time of the show. The end. Peace.